Liberate IT is an Oracle NetSuite solution provider that has been servicing Australian and New Zealand companies since 2011.
Hi everyone, hope you're all having a good day so far. Welcome to today's webinar, NetSuite 101, an introduction to Liberate IT and NetSuite. So thank you for coming along. My name is Jenna and I am a business specialist here at Liberate IT. I was having a look at some of the people that have joined us today, and I think I have talked to a number of you. So good that you guys managed to jump on and join us here today. I am joined by Mr. Paul Beattie. He is our GM here at Liberate IT. So Paul will take us through the demonstration later on, but first of all, I'll just quickly run through what today's agenda is going to be. So I want to cover who Liberate IT is with a quick overview, background on us, and then also an overview of who NetSuite are, how they came around, and then we'll jump over to Paul into the demonstration. We will have a Q&A at the end, so if you do have any queries that do pop up, there is a Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. I'll keep an eye on that as we go through the webinar today. But just type your questions in there and we'll make sure that we'll answer them when we go through at the end. So first of all, Liberate IT, who are we? So we have actually been around now for 11 years. The directors, Jim and Nick, who own Liberate IT, have actually been working in the ERP space 10 years prior to that. So 21 years they've been working in the space. And they saw back then that cloud ERP was the future. They wanted a solution that suited different sized organizations. So right from small startups through to growing businesses and medium to even enterprise companies across many industries. And that's how they came across NetSuite. And as you'll see today, it does work across all of those organizational sizes. And Liberate IT was born. We were established in 2011 and we are a dedicated NetSuite partner that services Australia and New Zealand. So Liberate IT have worked with many companies who may have outgrown their smaller systems. So mostly nowadays it's the likes of Xero, MYOB, QuickBooks, Sage, etc. Or on the other hand, they're starting to move away from that traditional server-based systems like Greentree, SAP Business One, Pronto, EXO, those kind of things, and wanting to fully move their business through to the cloud. So Liberate IT, we're purely focused on helping businesses change systems through to the number one cloud ERP, which is NetSuite. So that's all we work with day in, day out is implementing NetSuite. So we do know it like the back of our hand. And we're really proud to be the largest dedicated NetSuite partner across Australia and New Zealand still to date. So why do companies choose to work with us as their specific partner? We're quite boutique size, so we don't run as a large corporate company. We are a specialist business focusing on the one product, which is NetSuite, and doing that extremely well. When companies choose NetSuite, they choose Liberate because they know that whoever they're going to be speaking to here, they know that they're dealing with a business that just does NetSuite. So we're going to probably have the answer for you. Companies, we don't get passed around because of that corporate company culture. We're here for you. And we find that our customers like this because the staff at Liberate are not just a number. So we all provide input into how we operate as a collective and a valued member of the company. And I think that culture is really passed on to our customers as well. It also allows us to be really nimble and agile. We can adapt to whatever changes are happening in the market, for example, COVID. And because we operate in the cloud, our business operations weren't affected whatsoever. We all work from home before COVID made it cool to work from home. So we were actually really lucky and we're able just to continue on as business as usual. We use NetSuite for our own business systems, right? So we're a 100% cloud company. We understand the cloud and how an organization can run really successfully by harnessing the power of running in the cloud. We also use NetSuite for our ERP, the likes of Office 365 for Outlook, Teams, SharePoints, etc. So 100% in the cloud. And we use NetSuite, like I said, for all of our accounting, reporting, CRM, marketing, and also our campaigns there. Also one thing to point out, which we are really proud of, is in 2021, last year, we actually won Partner of the Year. And this is really important to us because it just highlights how we work with our customers. It means that, you know, we give that boutique service and we've been recognised that for putting the customer at the heart of everything that we do. So let's have a look at the ERP market here. So it's a very busy place, as you can see, with that mid-market being the most heavily competed space of all. There is a product for everyone, but there are a number of reasons why we feel that Oracle NetSuite platform is the winner. First of all, it's because it was built from the ground up to be a fully integrated solution. So there's no barriers to scale. Which is why businesses can and do start as a small SME with NetSuite. And as they grow, NetSuite allows them to grow with them. Another one is because it's designed to empower business users. So the user interface, the workflows are consistent across the platform, and everything is based on configurable options, not heavy customization. So you're not having to worry about waiting on dev or IT to do heavy customizations to your workflow. You can get on with your business pretty quick, smart. And lastly, it's a very mature and comprehensive product. So Gartner has placed us really high on their Gartner scale. And we find that, as I said before, it just crosses so many organizations and verticals as well. So many other products will give you a lot of straight out of the box solutions. But if you actually look under the hood, whilst they do position themselves to be a true cloud, there's actually a lot of different systems with different integrations that are kind of gluing and holding them all together. So what that means for the customer is, in the long run, it means scaling becomes a big issue, as there's a lot more work that needs to be done behind the scenes to make any integrations or upgrades actually happen. And ultimately, it will mean you have to upgrade to a bigger system, and your business is more reliant on external IT users and waiting on them to finish that work for you to get on and continue with your business and your job. So the beauty of NetSuite is that one unified system. So from the core of your customer financials and billing operations, it allows you to manage all of the components of your back office, from complex revenue recognition and billing to managing contracts and subscriptions. And in addition to your embedded professional services business, from statement of work to resource management to optimized billing, it allows your internal stakeholders to easily access information in a way that's tailored to their specific role. So, for example, a sales team. So your sales manager is going to want to see different information than, say, your CFO or your warehouse manager. So it's very role specific as well. However, say, for example, your CEO wants to have a quick snapshot of how the whole organization is operating, he's able to do that as well, and not just see the individual departments or units, but can actually have an overview of how the organization is running. But it's not also just about your employees. It's also about extending access out to your customers, your partners, and your vendors, as well as any external systems that you may want to automate access for in the future. So it does allow you to integrate into some systems that you do want to keep, but we want to make sure that we have all of that data in that single source of truth there, and that truth being what's in NetSuite. So let's have a look at a little bit about NetSuite. So NetSuite was established back in 1998. It was then acquired for $9.3 billion in 2016 by Oracle. So Oracle itself, it's a big beast. It's been around for quite a while. They could have built something themselves, like NetSuite. However, they really saw the power of NetSuite and what has been built, and the fact that Oracle acquired it means that NetSuite gets all of the updates and the resource and development that's needed into a software without taking that time. So it's used by over 32,000 organizations globally. And also important to note here is that their data centers are based in Australia. And it is ranked the #1 true cloud ERP. So I briefly touched on this before, but NetSuite actually works across industries and across verticals. So it's a solution for multiple industries, as you can see here, from manufacturing through to transport, through to non-profits. NetSuite can be used as an out-of-the-box solution, but because it's also modular, it allows you to customize to fit your specific business processes and requirements. So a software organization is going to have different requirements than manufacturing, but NetSuite allows you to customize the out-of-the-box solution to fit those requirements and needs. We'll have a quick look at the features here. Now, Paul will be going through the warehousing and manufacturing features in the demo shortly. We have just introduced a professional services webinar that we do run bi-monthly. So if you're interested in that, just let me know and I can send you through the registration link for that. That goes through all of the professional services features that you can see listed here, as well as the likes as the CRM component in a bit further detail. So our approach to implementation. We like to pride ourselves that we have a real collaborative approach. So we want our customers to walk away from us implementing their NetSuite instance and be empowered, be able to completely control their own instance of NetSuite. So we work very closely with you from day one to make sure that you're fully trained. So that means you have what's called a NetSuite champion. So that's a person in your organization that really kind of takes on the internal power user role. So they'll be your go-to for everyday questions about NetSuite. If you want to do some kind of report building or configurations, that person will be sitting in your organization and will be that powerhouse with the knowledge to be able to help you to do that. What that means as well is, one, you're fully controlled internally for your NetSuite, and you don't have to rely on, waiting for a support ticket to be answered. So you can just keep going on business as usual, and it's not affecting any productivity there. Also to note is our consultants. So when you implement NetSuite, you'll be assigned a specific consultant to help you go through that implementation. And our consultants are experts in their industries. So we even have a couple of ex-CFOs. So that means that you can be rest assured that they really know what they're talking about. One, when it probably comes to your specific industry, for example, manufacturing, they may have worked in manufacturing organizations or financial roles in manufacturing in a previous life, but also they are the experts in NetSuite as well. So you get the best of both worlds. So it just allows you to know that you are really in safe hands there. So if we take a look through at what actually is the process, you've had a look at NetSuite, we've had some conversations and you decide kind of to pull the trigger. Yep, this looks like the best solution for my organization. First of all, we start with workshops. So this is where we'll get the consultants, your specific NetSuite champion and other stakeholders from your organization. And we'll just sit down and really figure out what your specific business requirements are. And we'll start process mapping that out for you, which in turn will create a project plan. Once we've done that, we'll both agree to the project plan. And by that point, internally, you would have selected your own NetSuite champion. That NetSuite champion, by the way, doesn't need to be from the IT department or from the finance department. It's really a person that has the ability to learn, to be the leader of that NetSuite. So we have some people that might be a NetSuite champion from the marketing department, from the warehousing department. It really varies. So they're given hands-on one-on-one training, excuse me, by the consultants. So the time that we leave, they know exactly every little bit of that NetSuite account that you've got. From there, we configure Intel processes. So the configuration of all those processes leading through a process walkthrough. So again, we're always kind of holding your hand through this process, double checking, making sure that this all makes sense to your specific organization and your processes. As we do go through this, especially at the beginning at the workshop process, you may find that the current way that you're doing things or the current processes you do have actually aren't the best way of doing things. And that's when we can start and have a look at changing those processes completely, using NetSuite as kind of the base source for that process change. There's a lot of change management that also has to happen through the implementation process. Then we get what we call your master data. So that's where we extract all of the data that you've currently got. We cleanse that, make sure it all makes sense, upload that into NetSuite and do some kind of QA testing around that. Then we come through to the customizations and integrations. So we design and we document all of the gaps that you might currently have and any integrations. So for example, you might be using a different HR software, so Elmo, for example, and that's when we'll start having a look at building that integration to make sure that all that information that's relevant from Elmo feeds through to NetSuite and then vice versa as well. Then the refinement of the processes. So through this stage, we're continuously refining these processes, making sure these configurations are working and leading through to a walkthrough. Then we'll go through to the full process testing. So that's where we end-to-end test by the wider project team to make sure that everything's working as it should be. Then we go into UAT and training. So UAT, that just means it's user acceptance testing. So that's when yourselves and your team will actually be sitting down using NetSuite, and you're going to be making sure that yes, you're happy with that, all the processes make sense, all the integrations are working, and it's all working as it should be for your organization. Then we'll also do some training with you to the wider team as well. So the go live preparation comes next, where we upload those opening balances, and then we hit the go button and we should be on to go live and ongoing support. And for those first 6 or so weeks, you'll enter in what we call hypercare. So that just means that, we're still there holding your hand, making sure that all those integrations are working, all those processes are working correctly, all the training has been given and delivered, and that NetSuite champion is now really comfortable to take on that role while we slowly start to step back. So as you can see, it is a real shared collaborative approach. We don't just come in, implement, and then say, cool, see you later, any questions, send an email. We are there with you throughout that whole process, because it can be a daunting thing. Okay, so next, if we have a look at some of our customers, as I mentioned before, NetSuite works with some of the smaller organizations that might be just in hyper growth mode, to some really large enterprise accounts. So some of them you might see here, the likes of Starbucks, Xero, Datacom, and as you can see, there are a range of industries and verticals as well. Okay, well, that's enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Paul. And from there, he will take us through a demonstration.
Thank you very much, Jenna. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Right, Jenna, can you let me know if you can see my screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a NetSuite screen with a red dashboard up the top.
Yep, we can see that, Paul.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Jenna. And yes, good morning to everybody. As Jenna said, I'm Paul Beattie. I'm the General Manager of Liberate IT. I've been here for 11 years, but I've been doing what I do for another 15 years before that, working on different product sets. And when I came into Liberate as a sort of second employee on day number 10 of the company's existence, I actually came in as a solution consultant. So that is my background, as walking through people's processes and mapping that into an ERP system and discussing, okay, so you want to do something very special out there, and discussing why that needs to be done that way, or perhaps there's a better way to do it within the best practice that the system will have designed. And NetSuite is just really wonderful for having the best practices there. I'm going to take you on a first 20 minutes, a look and feel of NetSuite. We're going to look at some dashboards. We're going to go through some customers, some items, and just generally how one navigates around NetSuite. We're going to look at some roles as well. Then I'm going to do a very simple transaction flow, starting with a opportunity, because it's a CRM system as well as an accounting and stock and manufacturing system. Turn it into a sales order. We're going to be out of stock of some items, and then we're going to need to bring those items into stock and fulfill them, and through to invoicing. As Jenna said, this system, NetSuite, was built in the cloud way back in 1998 when I was worrying about 2K buggers, and if you're my age, you've been doing the same. That's how advanced NetSuite was and still is over the vast majority of other ERP systems out there, which are still on-premise systems, which have been now tried to be configured for a cloud-based infrastructure. But NetSuite was built, the dashboards were built, the infrastructure was built as a true multi-tenanted system. So I'm looking at a dashboard now. I'm in a role of financial controller. If I go up to my right-hand side here, you'll see I've got a lot of other roles in this demonstration account. When customers go live, they normally just have one role. Certain people may have two roles. They have an administrator role as well as their normal role. No one should be using the admin role. The idea being is that if I go down and I'm a sales rep and I go into the sales role, which I'm going to do now, I will see the items and activities and information that I need to do my job. Now, if you have the certain rights, you can change your dashboards, and we'll show you that in a moment. But you also might have your dashboard locked down, a BDM. If you've got 6 BDMs, you might have their dashboard locked down. It always shows the same information or the same portlets, but with just the information that's relevant to them. And you'll see across the top, one, it's a different color. You can choose your colors as you like, but we're talking about leads and opportunities and customers and forecast. We're talking about things that are relevant to the sales reps. And sales reps, when I go talk to them, they go, oh yeah, it's a great CRM sales system. They don't actually see the financial bits behind it, or even some of the stock bits behind it. NetSuite comes with 34 prepackaged roles, of which your NetSuite champion, as shown by us, will be able to alter, change, depending on the requirements of your organization. For example, the sales rep role comes with not the ability to create purchase orders, for example, ship purchase orders. A click of a button, and that will allow that ability to happen in that specific role. So if we look down this, we're looking at things like my sales, my leads, my business. What we're trying to do is manage the information to that person's requirements. How many open opportunities are at the moment? What's the sales trend? How many sales have they come in this week to date, this month to date? How many orders? So, we can start working towards quotas, that type of thing. And of course, over on the left-hand side here, how many calls to complete on them, how many tasks to complete, how many opportunities to close. Now, while they have made 10 opportunities to close or 20 quotes to close, that is within 5 days of expiring, we can also just show that information. Maybe not show the 100 quotes out there, just the 20 that are within 5 days. That's really easy to visualize. Equally, their manager, the sales manager role, won't show necessarily all the opportunities or all the estimates to close. The sales manager role here might just show the ones that are over a certain dollar value, or the ones that are going to expire in the next 5 days, the ones that they need to focus on. Now, I can also go down and look at the warehouse operator role here. And I show this role simply because we've seen 2 roles so far, and they're very, very busy. Lots of dashboards, lots of information there, but we can also make the roles really, really quiet. If you're not using our WMS system, the barcode scanning and putting scanners in the hands of the 18-year-old packers that you've got coming into your warehouse, they're going to have to go up to the computer. And what you don't want is, one is seeing a whole lot of information. You don't want them bamboozled by a whole lot of information. You want them just to go, there's a big pink button there that says fulfill order. That's what you're doing today. Click on that and click on the first order, create your picking slip, and go fulfill that order. Now, what I do normally just have a chat here about this list of orders to fulfill that you're seeing in front of you. I go into a lot of warehouses and I see a lot of people running up and down stairs from the customer service area with bits of paper in their hands. They've printed all the picking slips out, but then a new order comes in and they're running down with a new picking slip, or an emergency happens and they're running down, we've got to pick this order, it's from our best customer, or we've mucked up an order. And I'm thinking, we could make this so much more efficient. What say that we put a printer in the warehouse and let the people in the warehouse print out the picking slips, and if customer service get an order, for example, you might be in Auckland and you want to get all the South Island orders out by 2 p.m. or packed by 2 p.m. Or what say we have a little workflow happening on this list that says if this customer is in the South Island, put it up the top. Equally, if this customer is an important customer, maybe Progressive or Foodstuffs, put it up the top. Or a little tick box on the sales order where if something bad has happened and you've mucked up, customer service can tick that box and that will automatically be at the top because it's got to get out today, maybe on a 16-minute courier or something like that. No one running up and down stairs. The person just comes back. What's the next order, either on their scanner or on the computer here? They don't really care that it wasn't there 5 minutes ago, but we let the computer systemize. And when we go through this demonstration, when you go through this journey with us on looking at NetSuite, keep thinking that of all the different ways that you've got people emailing, phoning, running around the place, could that be systemized really easily, really logically within NetSuite? So there's my warehouse operator role. As I said, it's a really quiet role. You also see at the top, our dashboards change. We're talking about shipping, receiving, inventory. But of course, all that information that we can gather in NetSuite, it's all still there. And if I go to the warehouse manager role, I'm back to my dashboard, which shows lots of graphs and lots of information, lots of scary things to an 18-year-old kid you just got off the street to do some packing. But your warehouse manager deeply wants to know what the inventory trend is, what the inventory value is. They want to see the KPIs. They want to come down here and see what the order trend is, what the warehouse operation is, how many sales orders, how number of fulfillments. Oh, they want to see things like what are the shipment on time. I mean, all that information is captured in NetSuite. It's just a matter of visualizing it. And NetSuite does a really good job of visualizing information. going to go back now to the financial controller role. Just as an aside, all these roles, as I said, there's 32 roles that comes pre-packaged. One of the roles is CEO no touch or no change. That means that the CEO can look at all this information, but can't actually make any changes, which I always think is quite a good thing for a CEO. Certainly, everyone at Liberate prefers if I don't muck around in our NetSuite system. So we're up here in the controller role. You'll see there's navigation shortcuts here. The idea is that we're not spending our life going through things like this. You know, for the financial reports, we're not going down reports, income statement, balance sheet, budget versus actual, all that thing. Let's just have them there in a navigation shortcut. And there's a navigation shortcut for every role that you might want. Now, down here, this next portlet is the key performance indicators or KPIs. And everyone talks about KPIs as something everyone must have. And it's sort of like this magical thing, a KPI. Well, in my view, a KPI is nothing more than summarized reports showing comparisons from a certain time to another time. Now, that summarized report is nothing more than a grouping of granular data. Now, we can put any data in NetSuite that we like and move that up and visualize it as part of the KPIs. Everything in blue that you see on a NetSuite dashboard, you can drill down into. So if I go and want to look at my receivables, I'm going to click on the 932 number. It's going to run a report. Remember, it's just a summarized piece of information. And I've now got all my customers and my aging summary. And I want to go down here to Black Dragon, and I want to go and look at there. I'm going to click on the 9,700, and it's going to drill through and return to me the next level report down, which shows there's a credit memo and 3 invoices that are making up that number. If I want to click on this invoice here, I can go and see the granular information, i.e. the transaction that makes up that. And I am now in that invoice. I can see it was created from sales order 574. If I wish to, I can drill down, and I'm going to open this up in a new tab. And that's something I always say to people. Everyone that uses NetSuite should have 2, if not 3 screens, so you can start comparing things. And I've now opened up that sales order, and I can go and have a look at what made up that sales order here. You can see all the items here, whole lot of things are packed. I've got some stuff on back order here still. I can go and look at the related records, and I can see that 1 invoice has been created and 1 item fulfillment. When those back orders are released, there'll be another item fulfillment and a second invoice. Everything is going to be on the sales order. Now, if I go back to that invoice, I can go see it was just the items that were invoiced. I can see over here, there's some inventory details. So there's either some quality assurance, or there was a serial number on these items. And we also do lot or batch numbering as well. If I want to go and have a look at one of these items, I can just scroll through to it, and I'm going to open that in a new tab. And tell you what, I'm going to go and look at the customer Black Dragon. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. So here's my inventory item now. I've drilled down into it. I can see it's a curved monitor. Now, one thing I will say, and this is a demo account, there's a lot of white space here. And one thing we do when we go in and get the standard forms in NetSuite is that we take away the white space, and we show you NetSuite Champion how to take away the white space and how to take away the fields. And these are tick boxes that you don't want to display or to move things around. For example, the primary stock, purchase stock, primary unit, that should be in a line across here. But in this demo account, you know, that's the way it's come. The nice thing about the information that you can see down here is that this item 360. The idea of NetSuite is that all that information is there. It's just how does one display it nicely? So I can go and look and see for this item, what is the sales and margin? 3 months ago, 2 months ago, average cost, average sales price, average margin. I can go look at the 3O matching. I can go look at historical sales items for this items here. Open sales orders, open purchase orders. Now let's go look at the open sales orders. Anything of little blue dot says there's information in there. So you can start seeing all the items. Now, of course, this information is all gathering up. We have open sales orders. We may have some back orders coming in. We may have some demand that we know we're going to be short of in 2 or 3 months' time. Well, that's all being gathered up so that we can start running projected demand reports and then putting in front of you, this is what the computer thinks, the system thinks you should be ordering right now. For, I know Christmas is coming up, probably a bit late for Christmas now, but for whatever seasonal peaks and troughs that you have. I can go through and look at, purchase information. There's a replenishment methodologies that we have here. And as I was just mentioning, we can do some auto calculating around safety stock, reorder points, lead times, that type of thing, and then present that to you. Down here, it's a multi-location system. It's a multi-currency system. It runs multiple subsidiaries all the way around the world. We can see that we've just got 3 locations here, Melbourne, Perth, and Sydney. How much is in each one? I'm going to delete out of the inventory item now and go to the customer. Black Dragon, it's a very similar sort of idea. Customer 360. How many orders, how many fulfillments? If we look down the bottom here, how many invoices, the number of returns. If we can start seeing the value of that customer. And of course, all this information can be reported, it can be ranked, and you can then decide, right, how often do we need to keep calling these people? Have they stopped buying of us? Is the decline, is the trend going up or down? We can visualize all that and put in front of the BDMs. So how many open sales orders? This is the one I particularly like, is the top sold items. But the neat thing is we can also do the top sold items, but then what is items they aren't buying that is similar to those items, and start presenting that as through the campaign management or in front of the BDMs for them to phone. Or we can start, when was the last order date for a certain item? But they haven't purchased that in 2 years. Warranty's 2 years old. Let's see if they need to extend the warranty, or let's see if they need another one. And we can see things like, what the 12-month sales is for this particular customer. Also, I've got this. How many items have been returned? Are they that sort of customer that keeps returning items? Or is there a problem with their warehouse or their courier that things keep coming back? It's good information to know. And I talk to a lot of people when I go out to warehouses. They don't catch this information, and you start to think, well, what is the actual cost of doing business with some of these customers? And maybe we should rank them on ease of business, ease of doing business with customers. Well, we can show that information, and you can start making those sort of decisions. Now down here in the sales tab, we can see sales teams, we can see transactions. Now, of course, transactions in a NetSuite world is return authorizations, item receipts, credit menus, customer refund. And if you're on the vendor side, it's exactly the same, but in reverse. But of course, we can now say, okay, we only want to see all the invoices, or the deposits, or the quotes. So we can cut all this down with the views that we have of all this information, because there's so much information. We just want to make sure that it's the right information. We can put qualification questions in, and of course, opportunities. Because we are a CRM system, we're keeping opportunities for this customer. We also keep leads and prospects, i.e. people we've never transacted with yet, and we can have opportunities for them. Hey, they sell, we turn them into a customer, and then we have another opportunity for them. Or we can just go straight to quote, because it's a quick sale, give me a price for this, send the quote over. How that process works will be depending on you, but it's something we will be teasing out in the workshops, is how do you want to run your business. And being a CRM, good CRM system, we have messages there, thanks for your inquiry, there's a quote gone out, There's information that's gone out, an invoice has gone out, sales order, the item has been fulfilled, all that great information that goes from NetSuite, of course, we capture. If they reply back to your Gmail or your Outlook, that will also come into NetSuite. If it has come straight into Outlook, we can make it come into NetSuite by ticking a box on Outlook. We have an integration there. But all that information is kept. So again, 360-degree view of that customer. Who is talking to that customer? What are we talking to them about? We can keep attachments there for any contracts or master services agreement, anything like that. And of course, activities, phone calls, meetings, that can all come in and also be integrated into Outlook if you wish. We've got to do some calls, we've got some meetings, we've got phone calls, organizing, just your normal CRM stuff. But hey, it's also part of an accounting system and a stock system, and it's all in one place. So you're not trying to integrate to Salesforce or any of these other systems out there. It's all sitting in one place. And that is just incredible to be able to then extract that data out, to put those two pieces of information together. I'm going to go back home now by clicking my home button up here. And I'm back to that original home screen that we saw when we first looked in here. Now, if I want to put new KPIs in here, I can do that easily. NetSuite comes with a whole lot of standard KPIs. So I can say, well, I want to see new opportunities. It doesn't have to be money orientated. And I want to see some revenue information. Click on that. I can add a custom KPIs. Now, these are what we call saved searches or queries. And I'm going to search for a pre-baked one. The invoices, I want to see all invoices. And this is where NetSuite champions are really useful. Now, you've gone to the NetSuite champion, your person that understands NetSuite in your organization said, okay, we've got a problem with credit control. I want to be put in front of me on my dashboard, all invoices that are greater than 30 days, that are greater than 50K. That's a really simple thing to do, but you don't need to phone us up to do it. You could have your own person as well, have trained them to do it, to be able to create that report. So I'm going to go in and have a look at this report now with a save search. We edit it and show just how easy it is to do. I click down here, the criteria is what type is it? And it's just simply choosing it's any of or none of, and what transaction type. And of course, that could be just that same list I showed before, estimates, journals, opportunities, purchase orders, it can be anything. And how many days overdue is greater than 30? Well, that's just a number. I could have had that as 20 days overdue, as 15 days overdue. It's just a value. And what's the amount? Could be any amount. And what's the status of that? What information do I want returned? Well, that's just choosing what of those fields do I want to see. Very, very simple. Now, the other thing with this save search is that I could ask for it to be run automatically and emailed to perhaps a director who doesn't have access to NetSuite, but they wish to see this information every Monday at 9 o'clock. Well, at the moment, you would probably have to get that, extract that out, put it in a spreadsheet and email it to them. We can do that automatically in NetSuite. I'm going to click home now. Go back to my dashboard and you'll see in my KPIs, that information is still there. Over my reminders here, now someone that when they set up this demo system got very enthusiastic. And if you look here, the reminders go down an awful long way. But it gives you a good example of all the types of reminders. Now, I really, really like when I see emails and yellow post-it stickers and things like that disappear, or Teams messages, and instead people are just reminded to do things. There's some invoices that are overdue. There's some sales orders that need to be invoiced because you haven't turned on the automated invoicing yet. There's some credit memos to apply or purchase orders to approve. These things should not be turning up on your desk. They should be turning out, as Jenna said, we run a remote company and have done for 11 years. So if I want to approve anyone's expense or anyone's or a purchase order or supplier bill, that bit of paper does not come to my desk. Wherever I am in New Zealand, or Australia, or the world for that matter, I can get onto my NetSuite app on my phone, or I can log up on my laptop, and I can go and see all the things I need to approve. Click through them and approve them. For example, if Jenna takes you out for a cup of coffee, Jenna will take a photo of the receipt in the app. She'll then put in some more information, and the next thing to her manager will come through, please approve this, on their dashboard. The manager will go through, open up the expense claim, and have a look at the receipt. And if they wish to approve it, they'll click approve up here, which will make it supervisor approval. Doesn't mean it's going to be paid, because it's got to go to my financial controller's, Vicky's dashboard, for her to check it, and then she will make the payment. But down here, I can go through and see what was that for. It's going to the right expense account, doing some lunches, and I can go look at the receipt here. So that receipt can be thrown away now because it's in NetSuite. And all our receipts for 11 years is still sitting in NetSuite from the day we started. No filing cabinets, you might imagine, in Liberate IT. No filing cabinets in the vast majority of our customers. And when I do go and see them, I ask why. Why isn't this information sitting in NetSuite? Okay, so we can move about with these. If you, as I said, if you have the rights, and it's all about the rights and permissions, and I want to put another KPI meter here, I can do that just by clicking KPI meter, choosing which of these, and maybe it's total bank balance I want, and suddenly I've got my bank balance turning up. I don't want it there. I like my reminders at the top, so I'm going to move it over to the right-hand side here. How easy was that to put some information in front of you? And all of these tabs up here are also dashboards. So I can click into this dashboard and I see information I don't need to see on a daily basis in my home screen. I can see information that I just need to see, average days overdue trends. Or I can go look at my vendor performance, because that's a dashboard as well. Okay, now the last thing I want to show before I go do a transaction is this global search up the top here. This is how we go and find people. So if I type in Black, Black Dragon, the customer, I'll see I've got some bank details, phone calls, all sorts. So I type in CU : and there's two customers. One is a sub-customer of Black Dragon. It's that one that I want. That's how I go find customers in NetSuite. And you'll see I'm back to where I was before, except I've come here a different way. The same way those monitors we talked about. If I type in IT for items, monitors, I get a list of all the monitors. I click on that top one, and I am now back where I was before. Multiple ways, but more than that, I can also just type in PG348, and it's going to go away and find that monitor. Now that's a bit of information, a string in the middle of that. So very easy to find things. I can also go find the invoice number we talked about before. There's invoice in my recent records here, 786. If I type in 786, there's my invoice, and I can click through to the invoice. Last time I drilled right the way down. This time I'm just typing the information in. In the same way, someone phones up, their name's Pippa. I can go into Pippa's details because we have all the contacts in here. There's Pippa, and I can again click on the company she works for. Guess what? It's Black Dragon, and we are now back in Black Dragon, and I can see in the relationships that there's two people we deal with there, Alex and Pippa. Suddenly, all that information that you've got distributed around your companies in various CRM systems, accounting systems, Outlook, is in one place. Someone leaves, all that valuable knowledge is still there. Right, and with that, we're in Black Dragon. Let's go do a transaction. So I'm going to go and look at my opportunities with Black Dragon, and you'll see there's 3 opportunities here. Like I said earlier, I can just create a quote straight away. I can create a sales order straight away. But on this particular one, I've created an opportunity. Let's go and have a look at it. This opportunity is that they want some monitors for a gaming special. It's at 20% probability at the moment because the status is in discussion. We talk to you about how you set these statuses because that comes through the pipeline reports, and it also on the weighted value goes through at 20% to the forecast. To get to 50% at say proposal, and this is all depending on you and how you want to score these, it'll be 50% going through of the value. And we'll see there's a whole lot of items here that we're talking to them about in an opportunity sense. Think of it like a tender. They've talked to you about it. They're talking to 6 other people about it. You want to capture that information, but we haven't got to proposal stage yet. We're still talking, we're chatting. You know, is this the right ones? Hey, let me show you this one. Let's swap this one out. But these are the items we've got so far. Finally, they say, yep, send me a quote, please. Send me an estimate. So I need to swap roles here, and I'm going to go up to administrator role now and create an estimate from that opportunity. You see, I've got a purple up here. Oh, that is there. And exactly the same, I'm going to go through here to opportunities. And why I'm needing to swap here is because the financial controller role does not have the rights to create a estimate. I can create a new estimate here, and that estimate is based on the information already in the monitors. So no one needs to type in more information. You've already been talking about this for so long. There's the information, but they do say, hey, can you throw some cables in with that, please? Sure. I'm going to type in cables. I'm going to put a wildcard in front of that. And I want some 10-foot cable, please. And 4 of those. So yeah, the fact that, oops, 10 there. Add that. You know, that it wasn't part of the opportunity doesn't matter. You can still create that as the estimate. I can now save that. I can save and print it. I can save and email it. Now, the idea here is, of course, you would email this directly from NetSuite. We can make that PDF look anything that you like. We can make it look really trendy. We can put some terms and conditions on the back of it. If we did email it, it was going to sit in that communication area here. And that would have shown, the quote going out, the attachment, and what time it went out. And if they respond to it, it will come into this as well as into your Outlook. Everything's captured, which is great, of course, when you're sending invoices out. You can know the date and time that it was sent out. Now, they come back and say, and you'll see automatically this has changed to 50% probability level. And we've put an automatic expiry date on, which of course you can overwrite if you wish. That is all set in the parameters by you during setup. Now, if we want to create a sales order for this, we don't need to retype this in to a different system. If we want to create a sales order, we just click on sales order, and that will take that information and turn it into a sales order in NetSuite. It doesn't mean it will automatically turn up at the warehouse, because that will depend on whether you have an approval process, and that approval process will be a workflow that says, you know, if it's over a certain amount or a certain item or a certain location, it needs to be approved. If not, send it straight through to the warehouse. You'll see here also, I'm getting a warning that some items are out of stock. I also need to put a PO number in here, and I need to put a location in here. It's going to be from Melbourne. And I save that. And I have a sales order being created here. Now that as that status pending approval, you see as an administrator, I can approve that. But the idea is that out here in my dashboard, in my sales orders to approve. I now have that sales order waiting to be approved there. This is what I mean in real time. I click through to that as the administrator, pretend I'm in a different country, a different city, whatever. I can go, yep, I'm happy with that. Let's look at the amounts. Yep, good with that. Let's approve it. And it gets approved. And then it goes through the operational areas. Real time, dashboard driven ERP system. Really takes a lot of time and effort once we just set up those processes. And that's what Jenna was talking about. A lot of processes in here to be ironed out. A lot of them are natural NetSuite. We've now mapped them onto your processes or talk to you about maybe where your processes could possibly change to become more efficient. Okay, if I want to fulfill that, I can go down here and I can see I've got some items on back order here and some items that have now been committed and can be fulfilled. If I wish to, I could even create a dropship order for one of these and they'll automatically create a PO for that item. So if I go up now and fulfill this order, it's going to create a picking slip for the items that I can fulfill, these 3 items here. And I'm going to save that. So it can be printed out. As its status picked, it's waiting for the whoever's going to pick it to bring it back. Once it's back, they're going to pack it. We're going to pack it. This is because I've got a thing called pick, pack, ship turned on. You don't need to have that. Our smaller customers don't bother. They just have a straight picking slip turning into a delivery note. One transaction. For bigger customers, of course, they want to have 3 separate divisions of transactions. And now we're marking it shipped. At this stage, if we have turned on the integration to the courier and freight systems, it will go away, get the courier a courier number, put it on a manifest, and bring the consignment numbers back in and sit them in the packages area here in NetSuite, the tracking number, and then email that out to your customers to say, this has been dispatched here, and here's the tracking number. Now you see I've got a little button here called bill. So my view is that you shouldn't have that button there. Anything that's gone through the sales order process and been approved, that has been packed and shipped, it should just automatically create an invoice. Every hour, 8 o'clock that night, automatically straight away, it should just automatically create an invoice. Something we'll talk to you about. What for the accountants on the call though, what they very much like to see is the GL impact, and you can see automatically the impact of this transaction, of this shipment happened here. And return to item fulfillment. Now, if I go back to the sales order, you'll see here the sales order is created. Everything's linked. Everything links always in NetSuite. Even back to that estimate, that quote, we can rename that quote, of course. We can link it back to there, and we can see that we have fulfilled all these. We're waiting for the automatic invoicing to run before it's invoiced. So it is sitting here at a status pending billing, partially fulfilled. It will go to partially fulfilled when the automated invoicing is run, or if I push that button bill and created the invoice for that. What do I do with these 3 items here? Well, I need to get these in to stock. So I can do that a couple of ways. One is I could have clicked on the drop ship or special order. And the special order, the only difference between drop ship and special order is drop ship delivered to customers. Special order creates a purchase order. It'll be delivered to your warehouse. And then you'll need to ship it out, up to you. We can go create just a normal purchase order, of course, and in the same way you saw that sales order, that's how it will work with an item receipt, that type of thing. Or we can go to this neat thing called order items, which will automatically tell me what items need to be ordered. And if I go along a little bit, I can see here how many are available, how many are in back order, what's the reorder point, what's the preferred stock level. This is what NetSuite thinks you should be ordering. And if I click this button, it will automatically create purchase orders to the preferred vendor. And when they come in, that will automatically release those back orders. There should be no back order folder held, and then they'll be released to the warehouse to be dispatched automatically. That's the end of the hour, the top of the hour now. That's all I really plan to show you on this run through. It's a very quick run through of NetSuite, just showing you some of the highlights on particularly the warehouse and distribution. The idea is that if you are interested in moving to the next step, talk to Jenna and we'll come and have what we call discovery. We'll talk to you about your processes, where you want to improve things, what you want to be looking like in 2, 4, 10 years time, and we'll develop a demonstration out of that, which will be probably 3 to 5 hours, sometimes all day if needed. No issues going on site all day, and we'll demonstrate NetSuite in detail to you, covering all the points, whether it be fixed assets, deep manufacturing, the CRM, or just more purchasing and selling, and of course the financial reports and things like that. Jenna, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Paul. Look, if you've got any questions, do put them through in that Q&A box. I just got a couple that have come through quickly. The first one is there a limit to the number of users that you can have on NetSuite?
There is no limit to the number of users you can have on NetSuite. Unlike the likes of Xero, which are much smaller accounting systems, which has a transactional limit on it, NetSuite has no transactional limit and no higher limit. Our largest customer, Datacom, has 7,000 users, I think, on the system. Delta, who run a big utilities business in the southern bit of the South Island, they have 700 users hitting NetSuite. Our smaller customers, they had about 10, 15 users.
Great. And then another limit one, is there a limit of how many systems can be integrated into NetSuite?
There is no limit to the number of systems that can be integrated into NetSuite, though if you get to a certain transactional volume, we will be looking at the number of messages that are hitting the system, and we'll be advising to add on more pipes. We are sort of in a colloquial way to put it, more ways, because you get 5 pipes in and maybe you need 15 because there's a lot of integrations hitting the system, a lot of information going backwards and forwards. So we might want to, and it is a chargeable service, to add the extra pipes on to allow faster delivery and less queuing of these integration messages.
Great. Okay. And the last one I've got here is how long is a typical manufacturing implementation? How long does it take typically?
Okay, so if you were not using WIP and routing and weren't using some of the advanced routing methodologies, basically you were just using the works orders and assembly for a non-process, i.e. discrete manufacturing operation, which was back flushing, and you only had one manufacturing location and one subsidiary, there's no reason you couldn't be up and running in between 3 and 5 months.
Great.
If you have those other things I'm talking about, you could be 6 to 9 months. And literally it's just more on the change control. There's just more processes that need to be ironed out once you get into the likes of WIP and routing and moving stock from raw materials, quality checking it into the manufacturing area.
Great, thanks, Paul. That's all the questions that have come through. So we'll wrap things up now. Thank you all again for attending. As Paul did mention, if you guys are looking to have a discovery session with us, do reach out to me. I'll also send you all this recording as well. But other than that, that's it from us, and we hope you got some value out of it, and enjoy the rest of your day.
We hope this video gave you the information you were after. If you have any further questions, get in touch with us using the links in the description.